So students, today in this particular session, we are going to study an important topic of teaching aptitude, and that is called as maxims of teaching, also known as principles of teaching. Again, we will start with what exactly maxim means, what are these maxims starts from, how these maxims differ from one to another. So in detail, we are going to see all the maxims with examples, wherever possible, in-depth examples, at least understanding what these examples correlate to the principles of or magazines of teaching. So let's see that session in detail and let's start the topic, that is magazines of teaching. Hello students, welcome to Global Online, and on Global Online we have started preparation classes for your APSET examination, wherein we have brought paper 1 complete course. Now this complete course will be conducted in English as well as in Hindi, and this courses will be conducted daily live at 9 p.m. The speciality about this course is that this course will have full syllabus video lectures, including topic wise MCQs and full syllabus notes, which can be downloaded in PDF format. At the same time, you have full syllabus mock test and 2000 plus MCQs practice questions, which will help you to crack your examination in a very systematic way. In order to understand how to avail this course and how to access this course, you have to go to Google Play Store, download the app that is called as Global Online app, registered yourself with the registered mobile number. Once you registered yourself, you will be able to see the courses. Now, in that, you have to click your AP, that is Andhra Pradesh SET Examination. Once you click on that and once you pay the fees, you'll be able to access all the details very well, where you have the theory classes, the MCQs preparation, and much more, which will help you to crack your examination. Here I have, help you to understand all the magazines or principles of teaching at one place. And then I have listed all the examples also. I will take one small session in order to make you clear also. Maybe some students, as I said, they are the principles and magazines, but some books have given some difference. So I'll take a session for that also. Don't worry right now, just concentrate on this, right? Okay. So when we talk about the first magazine or the first principle, known to unknown, okay, it's mentioned very clearly. So how it basically tells what teacher should start something which is known to the students, okay. So the step from known to the unknown should be taken by the teacher, which makes the learning, teaching very easier for the student, right? So this really will help the students, to learn the concepts properly, to help them understand the things very easily and retain them for a longer period of time. So let's take one of the example. So cooking and eating, are known concept for the students. So students know what exactly cooking means, what exactly eating means, and these terms they have been using in the action verb form, right? So now teacher should make sure that when the teacher is explaining the concept of photosynthesis in science, teacher should bring these concepts like cooking food. This concept is something which is known, and then teacher should help them to understand the process of photosynthesis as plant cook their own food. So this becomes little bit easier for them, relate to them. They don't have to go for a rote learning, and they understand the concept very, very, very well, right? Now, coming to the next concept is simple to complex. Now, when we understand simple, so teachers should start her lessons with something simpler and should go towards what? Should go towards or take the students towards the complex content. A very basic example that, see, when we start with mathematics lesson, so we teach 1, 2, 3 numericals, and then slowly teacher can take the students to the Roman numbers. So they understand the concepts, very well. So teacher must make sure that the simple concepts are first, making a strong base, and slowly, gradually, teacher should increase the complexity level for the students. So it becomes easier for the students to transit from simple to complex, right? Okay. Coming to the next is concrete to abstract. So when we talk about concrete, okay, see, the mental development, of the child begins with concrete in order to take them to the abstract concepts at a later stage. So now, like for example, when we talk about the mathematical solution, the numbers and digits, which, teacher should help the student to understand the concrete concepts which are tangible,
Okay. And then, like for example, in the concept of mathematical concept, board mass, right? This is a rule which we have learned very well in our school days also. And then slowly teacher should take the concepts to, to abstract one, intangible one. So this helps them to understand the concept with a proper clarity. So how to go with this mathematical solution where you have lot of small equations put together. So the board mass rule will help them to go through the concept in the later stage, right? So concrete to abstract. Then coming next is particular to general. Now, when we talk about particular, so the maxim of teaching talks about taking something particular to general. So it helps teacher in creating the better understanding of the between the students. So you're like the teacher should give a particular examples, like for example an incident and scenario, and then students should be asked to generalize it, right? So for example, if you want an example, teacher is taking the grammar session. Teacher is taking teaching tenses to students: past tense, present tense, continuous tense, present continuous tense. Then teacher should help them to take the example and explain the use of tenses, and then ask them to imply in their general day to day situation. Like for example, the scenario right now. So if the teacher is in the session, okay, before this session, what they did when they had their lunch, what is their plan for tonight, or what is the plan for the evening, what evening activities they do. So see, such type of application will help them to make it very clear that what is specific and how to go for a generalization towards it, right? Then coming next is whole to part. Okay. So now when we talk about, the teacher need to make sure that the entire concept, okay, and is focused at once, and then there are multiple parts. So whole to part, right? So this is how the students learn with again a clarity and a understanding. So for example, in order to teach any poem, so when we are talking about whole to part, poem, teaching a poem, so teach the magazine is best way. It talks about reading entire poem in front of the class. I don't know how many of you may, like for example, if you are a literature teacher, if you are an English teacher, or if you have been teaching English in schools or colleges, junior colleges, or if you're you are taking that subject, this is the basic principle that whole to part, we read the entire poem first, and then we help the students to generalize the concept of the poems with the help of the scheme of words or the rhythm scheme, and different parts of figures of speech and all those things. So it becomes little bit easier for the students to accept the concept very well, right? So that comes whole to part. Then we have is psychological to logical. So it is teachers should always keep in mind the level of understanding of the students. So this is something which the best way to start any lesson is starting with psychological, and then creating a logical understanding of situation. So this is something which will help you to have the student or a learner centric method. So this really makes clear that okay, whatever concept is taken, that is from the learner center point of view, right? And this is how the concept of psychological to logical magazine works. Then comes next is your induction to deduction. So when we talk about induction, it refers to what? Arriving at a conclusion, induction, right? And after analyzing what the statement, after analyzing the examples, whereas deduction comes into it, it is entirely opposite. So it is, teachers move from induction, that is, arriving at a conclusion, from induction to deduction. So, like for example, we let us take an example and understand it better. Teaching active and passive voice. Like teacher is teaching a grammar concept, active and passive voice. So teacher should give first explanation, right? Of sentences turning from active to passive, and then should use them in a continuous conversation. So something first conclude it, and then go for its for entirely opposite part, that is going for its analysis, right? Okay. Then next we have is empirical to rational. So now when we talk about empirical to rational, it's a journey from, smaller level of maturity to a higher level of maturity. So empirical to rational, it is from small to high. So empirical is something, you have used this term in the research also. So it is basically first hand observation, right? And rational is based on more argumentative and logical reasoning, right? So the teacher should start something which is based on observation. This will help the students to understand the logic and, behind the concepts, and the student should be able to take the concept very well, right? Then analysis to synthesis. Okay, so this is the last magazine, analysis to synthesis. So analysis, it means you are breaking down, right? You have studied this in Bloom's taxonomy also. Whereas synthesis, whereas it's synthesis is bringing all the separated items. It means it is, collating, bringing it together and fixing it, right? So here the sentence must be analyzed, must be break down into many parts. Like for example, again, if you talk about the figure of speech, okay, so what are the verbs used, what are the nouns used, what are the adjectives used, and then the teacher should, by using synthesis, it can be formed into a sentence, that is collating it, then you can put it into the sentence. So what was the adjective of that sentence, what was the verb form of that sentence, which becomes easier for the students to grab and remember the concept very well, right? So yes, now like for example, there are two three things, which is not actually the magazines, but yes, maybe you have came across in some books. So there is something which is called as something actual to representative. So this is one of the, I cannot say this is a magazine, but in some books they have given actual to representative. So it is basically talking about what, uh, it is talking about, to students of lower classes, needs to form a concrete learning, and whereas for representative learning, pictures and visuals can be explained to the senior students. So when the students are into lower classes, actual scenario should be presented, and then later on it can be moved to what, it can be moved to representative, where visualization can happen. Okay, and then yes, this is all what we have studied. I hope you know it, that we have these short sessions, and immediately after the sessions, if you go on the app, you also have the question answer, so you can just test yourself at whether you know the concepts or not. You require one more reading and practicing, and it will really help you to get the concepts very well from the day one, right? Tomorrow with a new concept. Thank you.